Good evening. Welcome to Asia Newsline. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Friday, the 14th of February. India remembers Pulwama terror attack martyrs on its anniversary. Preparations underway ahead of U.S. President Trump's first India visit. U.S. Taliban negotiates 7-day reduction in violence, says Pentagon chief Esper. And now for all the details. India on Friday paid tribute to the 40 paramilitary personnel who lost their lives in the Pulwama terror attack on February 14th last year. A suicide bomber of Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed terror group had rammed a vehicle carrying explosives into the paramilitary convoy, killing 40 personnel.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday paid tributes to 40 paramilitary personnel killed in the Pulwama terror attack in India's Jammu and Kashmir last year and said India will never forget their martyrdom. PM Modi in a tweet described the Central Reserve Police Force or CRPF martyrs as exceptional individuals who devoted their lives by serving the country. Meanwhile, the CRPF on the death anniversary of their personnel inaugurated a memorial at its Letpora camp in Pulwama district. Names of all the 40 personnels along with their pictures are part of the memorial.
उनके चंद महीनों के अंदर जो मेन कॉन्स्पिरेटर्स थे और जो मेन टेररिस्ट थे वो न्यूट्रलाइज हो गए थे. उसके बाद कई लोग अरेस्ट हुए हैं जिन्होंने बाहर से एज OGW उनकी मदद की थी. तो जो हमारे जिन लोगों ने ये हादसा अंजाम दिया था उनका हिसाब किया जा चुका है.
On February 14, 2019, a suicide bomber of Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed or JEM terror group rammed a vehicle carrying explosives into a CRPF convoy in Pulwama, killing 40 personnel. Days after the attack, the Indian Air Force on February 26 carried out multiple aerial strikes at JEM terror camps in Pakistan's Balakot, killing a large number of terrorists and destroying their infrastructure. Tensions flared up between India and Pakistan after the counter-attacks.
Portugal's President Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa on Friday met his Indian counterpart Ramnath Kovind and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi to boost bilateral ties. After holding delegation-level talks, both the sides agreed to enhance cooperation in trade, defence and maritime sectors.
Portugal's President Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa was accorded a ceremonial welcome in New Delhi on Friday as he began his 4-day official visit aimed at strengthening bilateral ties with India. Sousa was received by his Indian counterpart Ramnath Kovind upon his arrival at the Presidential Palace in New Delhi, where he also inspected a guard of honour. The Portuguese leader arrived in India on Thursday night for his first state visit to India. The last visit by a Portuguese president to India was in 2007.
For peace in the world, for sustainable development, for younger generations, for international law and human rights, but also bilaterally. We're going to improve our cooperation economically, technologically, scientifically, culturally.
The Portuguese president later met Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi and held delegation-level talks exploring ways to deepen bilateral ties in a range of areas, including trade and investment. After the meeting, the two leaders witnessed exchanging of several agreements, including on development of a national maritime heritage complex in India's Gujarat, cooperation in maritime and ports, and promotion of industry and internal trade among the two countries. The Portuguese president also paid tributes at Rajghat, the memorial of India's iconic freedom fighter Mahatma Gandhi in the Indian capital. He will also travel to western Maharashtra and Goa provinces during his visit, which will conclude on Sunday.
Preparations are underway in Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's home province, Gujarat, where U.S. President Donald Trump will make his first stop during his 2-day state visit this month. President Trump is expected to attend a special event organized in his honor and the workplace of the country's iconic freedom fighter, Mahatma Gandhi, in Gujarat.
Authorities in India are pulling out all the stops to welcome U.S. President Donald Trump and his wife Melania Trump for a two-day state visit starting from February 24th. Trump is expected to attend an event dubbed Kemcho Trump, meaning How Are You Trump, at the stadium in western Gujarat's Ahmedabad city, along the lines of the Howdy Modi extravaganza he hosted for Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Houston last year.
1,10,000 से ज़्यादा लोग आने की संभावना है और उससे भी ज़्यादा आएंगे तो भी उनकी बैठने की व्यवस्था कर दी गई है.
Meanwhile, preparations are also underway at Sabarmati Ashram, the hermitage of India's iconic freedom fighter Mahatma Gandhi, where President Trump will make his first stop on February 24. Security has also been tightened in the area for Trump's grand welcome.
हमको बहुत ही आनंद है कि डोनाल्ड ट्रंप जी भी यहाँ पधार रहे हैं और उनका अच्छे से स्वागत भी करेंगे आंटी पहनाकर, सूतर की आंटी जो हम खुद बनाते हैं और यहाँ पर उनका अच्छे से उनका प्रार्थना वगैरह भी हम यहाँ करेंगे जो डोनाल्ड ट्रंप जी जो सर्वधर्म प्रार्थना भी सुनेंगे.
Donald Trump is scheduled to make his first visit as U.S. President to India as the two countries have been trying to reach a limited trade pact with lower tariffs. But talks have run into problems over issues with data privacy and e-commerce controls.
Families of students killed during the 2014 Army public school terror attack in Peshawar have approached Chief Justice of Pakistan seeking answers over the escape of Ehsanullah Ehsan from a jail in the country. Ehsan, former spokesperson and top leader of Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, was responsible for the gruesome attack that killed 149 people, including students.
Families of the students killed during the 2014 Army public school terror attack in Peshawar on Thursday approached Chief Justice of Pakistan Gulzar Ahmed seeking answers over the escape of Ehsanullah Ehsan, former spokesperson and top leader of Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, from a jail in the country. In the application, the 15 families have questioned how Ehsan was able to leave Pakistan upon his escape from the prison and said that the state failed in bringing him to justice. Ehsan has disclosed that on January 11, he had managed to escape from the custody of the Pakistani security authorities. Ehsan was involved in one of the most gruesome attacks on Pakistani children when suicide attackers on December 16, 2014 entered schools shooting indiscriminately, killing 149 people, including 132 students.
Moving on, political activist Shaukat Ali Kashmiri recently highlighted Pakistan's nefarious designs to illegally merge Pakistan-administered Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan into its provinces. He expressed concerns that the move will lead to further persecution of people of both the illegally occupied regions.
Political activist Shaukat Ali Kashmiri has brought out how Pakistan is shaping its nefarious designs to merge Pakistan-administered Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan into its provinces while keeping residents of both the illegally occupied territories deprived of any constitutional rights. He said Pakistan is planning to subsume parts of both the regions into Punjab province and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and appoint commissioners to rule them. He also highlighted Raja Farooq Haider Khan's statement in December last year, in which he said that the Pakistani administration has given him message that there will be no Prime Minister of Pakistan-administered Kashmir after him, indicating Islamabad's nefarious plans.
क्योंकि आज़ाद कश्मीर का जो किरदार है वो एक तफैली का इन्होंने बनाया है गुज़श्ता 70 सालों से आज़ाद कश्मीर के सियासी, समाजी और माशी हुकूक जो है वो कंप्रोमाइज़ हैं और कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल पावर्स जो है वो लोगों को हासिल नहीं है और ना ही आज़ाद कश्मीर की हुकूमत के पास किसी किस्म के कोई कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल पावर्स हैं। अगर तो इसलिए ये तो बात वाज़ेह है कि पाकिस्तान जो है वो आज़ाद कश्मीर या गिलगित बल्तिस्तान को एक सूबाई हैसियत देने के लिए भी तैयार नहीं है।
Activists blame the stooge rulers in both the illegally occupied regions, work at Pakistan's behest and help Islamabad fill its treasuries through economic depredations and exploitation of natural resources. Although Pakistan has no legal claim over the territories, the administrators have persecuted the locals through military rule and at times forced legislations that left them deprived of any human rights.
U.S. Defense Secretary Mark Esper on Thursday announced that President Donald Trump's administration and the Taliban had negotiated a 7-day reduction in violence proposal in Afghanistan. He made the remark on the final day of the NATO defense ministers' meeting in Brussels.
U.S. Defense Secretary Mark Esper said on Thursday that the United States and the Taliban had negotiated a proposal for a 7-day reduction in violence. Speaking after a meeting of the NATO-led Resolute Support Mission for Afghanistan in Brussels, Esper told reporters the deal was conditions-based and warned there would be a continuous evaluation process. The announcement came after Afghan President Ashraf Ghani earlier this week said there had been a possible breakthrough in U.S. Taliban talks in Qatar.
The United States and the Taliban have negotiated a proposal for a 7-day reduction in violence. I'm here today consulting with allies about this proposal, and we've had a series of productive bilateral and collective meetings about the path forward.
Peace talks had been deadlocked in part over a U.S. demand that the insurgents agree to sharply reduce violence as part of any American troop withdrawal accord. Meanwhile, Afghan Acting Minister of Defense Asadullah Khalid met with Esper, and the U.S. Defense Secretary reaffirmed Washington's enduring support to the Afghan security forces, the Afghan Ministry of Defense said in a statement.
Over a dozen people were killed in central Afghanistan in a series of avalanches on Wednesday and Thursday. This year, winter in the country has been harsh, with heavy snowfall, avalanches and flash flooding claiming several lives.
Over a dozen people were killed after a series of avalanches struck central Afghanistan on Wednesday and Thursday. According to an official from Ministry for Disaster Management, 7 people remain missing following the avalanches in central parts of the country since Thursday, media reports said. Search and rescue teams have been working to find the missing and help the victims, according to the latest reports. This winter in Afghanistan has been harsh with heavy snowfall, avalanches and flash flooding. Scores have also been injured and 2,400 houses have been swept away in flash floods since the start of the season. The recent deaths have brought the death toll from avalanches and flash floods in Afghanistan in the past 2 months to more than 70.
In a bid to control the fires on boats and ships in the deep, a firefighting and rescue boat was launched into sea earlier this week in Sri Lanka. The ultra-modern firefighting and rescue boat can reach 35 nautical miles per hour.
A firefighting and rescue boat to control the fires on boats and ships in the deep was launched into the sea earlier this week in Sri Lankan capital, Colombo. The boat's trial run was overseen by Commander of the Sri Lankan Navy Vice Admiral Pial de Silva. This 17.91 meter long and 6.91 meter wide ultra-modern firefighting and rescue boat, completely made domestically by Solus Marine Lanka Private Limited, can reach 35 nautical miles per hour. The boat is equipped with 2 high-pressure foam propulsion systems and other advanced electronic devices. Many believe that the watercraft could raise export revenue, which would boost the Sri Lankan economy.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. India remembers Pulwama terror attack martyrs on its anniversary. Preparations underway ahead of U.S. President Trump's first India visit. And U.S. Taliban negotiates 7-day reduction in violence, says Pentagon Chief Esper. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsia Newsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsia Newsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time next week. Have a great weekend. Good night.